Yesterday, I came across this video on YouTube. It comes across as a deep fake video. The way the lips are moving, all that stuff. Anyways, it's a video and it's making the point that the Indian company that makes fighter jets in a very bad shape and has been a long time. But you hear Elon Musk's voice. Maybe it is fake voice, but it is a statement. And of course, like we do free speech. Valid criticisms can be made, and I have no dog in the game. That company is in the public domain, anybody can comment on it. So maybe those fighter jets are not top of the line. That's there. But the key point I'm getting to is this. So if SpaceX, the Elon Musk company SpaceX, poached 60% of the scientists from ISRO, ISRO, the Indian NASA, basically the Indian Space Agency. It's a public sector organization. So how do you explain this? If the brain power is from ISRO, but the work is being done with SpaceX, you could argue that SpaceX being in the private sector is what it's the game changer. Or you could say, it's Elon Musk. He's an amazing entrepreneur, leader, visionary, whatever, right? Or you could say it is the US. The business climate in the US is just better. You could argue any of these things, which still doesn't change the fact that SpaceX poached 60% of ISRO scientists. The brain power was there. It is still there. India has a lot of that. So what is missing? It is the culture. What gives? And I think that is a valid question to ask to the Indian tech ecosystem. That by the way, there's this huge explosion of activity, and it is recent. That didn't exist 10 years ago. Like 125,000 tech startups by some counts. That's a lot of action. And I think in about 5 years, we'll start seeing some major breakthroughs. So what gives? Why couldn't those ISRO scientists not have done similar stuff or can do similar stuff right there? I know of some, space tech startups in India that are making some moves. And I think with SpaceX, Mars is both a plus and a minus. It's amazing marketing. It's almost like Elon Musk has a monopoly on Mars. Nobody else is making the attempt. On the other hand, I think it's a major drag too. The numbers just don't add up. It's That's too expensive real estate. You make this huge effort to go to Mars and do what? Right? What's the business model? Except if you ditch that and focus entirely on Earth, like low orbit satellite communication to bring the cost down further. A company that is doing both Mars and low orbit satellites might not be able to compete with the company that does only low orbit satellites on Earth because you're more focused, your resources are going to this one particular thing, and if you do well enough down the line, maybe asteroid mining, robotic asteroid mining, no human beings involved, might make a better business sense than going to Mars. Mars, by the way, is a very hostile environment on the surface of Mars. No atmosphere, major radiation, direct radiation from the sun, all that stuff, right? So one example I try to bring up is, try colonizing the ocean depths first. The ocean depths are much less hostile than the surface of Mars. And there's the human aspect, you know, being inside a spaceship, this enclosed space for months at a time. There are real psychological issues involved. Also, biology. The human body seems to need gravity, Earth's gravity. So when you take human beings into space, there are issues. The body needs the gravity to function normally. So I think it would be interesting to see if there are entrepreneurs in India that are attempting to do things in the private sector by and corporate culture, great leadership. All this can be nurtured. Can somebody has to just make the jump and get it done. I think for the high tech sector, especially, and there's the ease of doing business index. That's for the country at large, but for specific pockets like tech sectors, these smart cities they built, or special parks they built for tech startups, tech ecosystems. There, the ease of doing business index is fairly competitive. I think that is the case. So it really is about individual entrepreneurs making that leap and saying, okay, I'm going to provide the leadership, build the right corporate culture, and just get it done. Because in this whole scenario, I think the brain power, those 60% ISRO scientists that went on to SpaceX, that is a big part of the game. I think a lot of the rest can be built fairly fast. So I think it comes down to finding those risk takers, those entrepreneurs who will jump into the fray and get it done. And I mean, space tech, it's there's a lot of room for growth. Low orbit satellite internet, that's not the only thing. There's manufacturing in a zero gravity environment. That's whole new industry. Of course, Earth to Earth rocket transportation, where you can go from any point on Earth to any other point on Earth in like half an hour. There could be some business there that can be harnessed, and just like there are, there's room for multiple winners there, and some of them might as well come from India. So this is still, a conversation about tech entrepreneurship and technology and service to humanity and new business growth and all that stuff. Risk taking, visionary leadership, and that I believe could come from anywhere, including India.